All right, Alexa, thank you. 8:32 right now. A violent weekend in the Bronx sent a dozen people to the hospital after 4 separate shootings. All but one happened in broad daylight.
Cops did arrest 4 people in connection with Saturday's shooting in Baychester, but investigators are still looking for suspects in the other 3 shootings. Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson taking matters into her own hands, stepping up public safety. She's here with us this morning to talk more about this. So good to see you.
Thank you. Good morning.
And we've been talking about this all morning long this weekend. That was really riddled with gun violence, right? A shooting specifically near a playground, right? So you're talking about ramping up some of the efforts. What are you doing?
Right. So we've been working for a couple of weeks now, now that the adopted budget is in place, on security measures with the NYPD, with sanitation to go after illegal dumping, because we believe that safe communities are also clean communities, working closely with the Parks Department on more enhanced lighting and more security cameras, because we know that's what residents want. We've worked all summer with all of our incredible messengers and the anti-gun violence organizations. We've had a number of events. So to see this happen in the weekend is so heartbreaking, so disturbing, and really outraging. And I want to let everyone know that this is not normal. Many of these cases are isolated, involving young teenagers, but also there's a reason for all of the violence we're seeing, the proliferation of guns, the fact that it's so easy to get a gun, and then we're seeing younger and younger people involved in violence.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard when you take a look at the numbers in your borough. And there's 2 particular precincts that are at issue, and that's the 45th and the 47th. Let's look at some of the stats according to the NYPD. So in the 45th precinct, there have been 10 shootings so far this year, compared to 4 during the same period last year. That's a 150% increase. In the 47th precinct, there have been 21 shootings so far this year, compared to 14 for the same period last year. Now that's a 50% increase. And here's the one that really shocks a lot of folks. Murders in both precincts are up dramatically. 200% in the 45th precinct and 100% in the 47th precinct. What do you attribute that really disturbing number to?
The 4-5 is very surprising. That includes Westchester Square, Co-op City, Throgs Neck, the East Bronx. We've never seen this level of violence in my time in the 4-5, and I think there's something happening there, and we're looking into it, working with DA Darcel Clark. We had a double homicide near Ferry Point Park. There was a car meetup that went wrong early one morning, and we've seen just lots of things, drag racing, car racing, areas where you have a lot of vacant land, and people are coming into the 4-5 for a reason, and they're coming with violence, and they have weapons, and they're using them. What happened on Friday night was disturbing, and understanding what happened with teenagers from a group text that went out of control, and there was a meetup, and a 15-year-old came with a gun, and 4 teenagers were shot, is disturbing, and it's unacceptable. How does a 15-year-old have a weapon, and why are they using it as a form of engaging in violence? It's unacceptable. The 4-7, also Hayfen Park, and what we saw there, a basketball tournament. There was also a back-to-school event with backpacks and school supplies, and ultimately gang crew violence that we've seen before, and everything just happened right at that time.
So a lot of this is gang related?
Yes, most of it is gang related, crew related as well. We don't necessarily call them large gangs, but they're crews. They're neighborhoods that fight against another neighborhood, and we've seen that quite a bit happening across the Bronx, and we're looking very intentionally at what is happening, but also basketball tournaments and large scale events. People are saying, we want to make sure that there's a police presence. We often ask basketball leagues to get a permit through the Parks Department, so we know you're there and we can have the safety measures in place. And so we want to keep doing that, but we also want to make our parks safe. Parks are safe spaces. Children are there, older adults. How is it that we're seeing so much happening? We just had the funeral this weekend for Angel Mendoza, the 14-year-old at Williamsbridge Oval Park, and we were there Friday for a candlelight vigil. It's like it's happening far too often, and I want to assure the residents of the Bronx that we're taking everything very seriously, and we're looking at a lot of intervention programs.
You know, this is happening in the middle of an election year.
Absolutely.
And so people are looking now to a mayor or the next mayor, whoever it may be, to fix some of these issues that are now ongoing. So are you supporting somebody in the mayor's race?
Yes, I will be making an endorsement and certainly talking to all of the candidates running for mayor, and they're asking me, what is it that you want to see? I want to see real programs that serve the Bronx. I want jobs. I want programs that lift up families. I want affordable quality housing and home ownership.
You don't see that right now.
I want a plan to get rid of guns. We've had a lot of just success right now. We have gotten off the Bronx hundreds of guns just year to date, but yet there are hundreds more that are in our borough. Why do so many people across our city have guns and they're easily able to use them? That's the problem.
So who is it?
I don't know just yet. I think, everyone brings something to the table.
Yeah, I'm going to try.
And I'm going to keep talking and then make a decision, obviously, with consultation of elected officials.
No, I appreciate it. And thank you for your honesty there. I will try my hardest. But let's talk about Legionnaires outbreak, because we just had the health commissioner on Picks on Politics Friday talking about it going on in central Harlem. But now we have cases in the Bronx, which is not new to see Legionnaires in the Bronx. But why do you think it keeps popping up?
I think we have to keep enforcing the laws on the books now with Legionnaires and cooling towers that we've documented. I was in the city council in 2015 when the outbreak occurred in the Bronx, and Highbridge was affected, and we lost 12 neighbors. And we learned about cooling towers, residential, commercial. We created a database. There's an online process to register your building and your cooling tower. There are 3 months of disinfecting, of making sure that they're inspected properly, but we have to hold landlords and property owners accountable. There has to be a system. The bacteria of Legionella that grows in cooling towers happens all the time across our city. We have Legionella and Legionnaires cases across the city every year. The challenge is when there is a documented case and a cluster in a particular area with a zip code that's identified.
Is this particular tower different, though, from the ones that we're seeing in the Bronx or in Harlem? Is this an indoor cooling tower? I was a little bit confused how they were saying that this one's a little bit different than Harlem.
So most of the towers, cooling towers that we're familiar with in the Bronx are on rooftops. And commercial buildings. I mean, our source at that time in 2015 was a hotel in the South Bronx.
But this one in Parkchester.
And this one in Parkchester is obviously the Parkchester condominiums, and so the landlord has already started the disinfecting process.
Okay, let's talk about the Tour de Bronx.
Tour de Bronx.
You participating?
Yes, I always do.
Okay.
I've been riding 25 miles.
Yeah.
Really?
It's a lot.
Amazing.
That's amazing.
It is a lot. But James Ford is even better.
He is the best.
He rides 40 miles because he's a pro.
Yeah. How many people have signed up?
So far, a couple of hundred, and we usually get to over 1,000, maybe 1,500, close to 2,000.
Wow.
We've advertised, as you know, the website, www.ilovethebronx.com. It's Sunday, October 5th. We're going to have a press conference. James is going to be our MC, of course.
Oh,
Thank you, PIX, for being a co-sponsor and hosting us. We're excited, and we're going to ride in Tour de Bronx.
That's awesome. Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson, great
you.
having you
Thank
here
you so
as
much.
always.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
your time.